what would happen if I just wanted 10K months? What if I wanted thousands of dollars in the bank? Because being led by desire is so much more powerful, especially when you feel worthy of being led that way. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hi, my loves. Welcome back to the pod. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jill Perrick. I'm a business and mindset coach. I help coaches overcome imposter syndrome and step into their worthiness and sign clients. And we're getting close to the end of the summer. I'm so sad. And I hope you are enjoying yourself, living your best life, signing the clients, feeling worthy of having the life that you want, all the good things. But if you're not, bitch, get your cute butt over to the show notes and apply to one-to-one coaching. 6 months, you and me, getting you booked out and sought after in your business, feeling worthy of it all, creating an identity, a life, and a business that you're proud of. We do it in one-to-one coaching. 6 months of one-to-one calls and WhatsApp messaging support, $8,000 pay in full or $1,333 payment plan for 6 months. Hit me up at the link in my show notes to apply. So today's episode was actually inspired by a conversation with a one-to-one client that I thought was so good and juicy. You guys needed to hear this message today too. So she dropped into WhatsApp one day and was talking about her attraction marketing strategy and how she feels like her desperate or lack mentality is not going to attract clients to her. And when we pulled the threads at her lack and scarcity mentality, what we found was so interesting to me, but definitely not uncommon. So first off, my client is as safe as can be. She has the support she needs. She has the money she needs. Her bills are paid. She has a home. She's got clients in her business. She is technically safe. But despite being safe with her money, she has this feeling of desperation, lack, and scarcity that she is creating through her thoughts of needing more clients, needing more success, just needing more in general when it comes to her business. And this is something that I used to experience as well, and why I wanted to share it with you. And it's because I believe that so many of you can relate. As you know, I talk a lot about the subconscious mind and how our brains are like computers. We run programs and patterns that we develop at a young age, so our brain doesn't have to work as hard when introduced to new information. We operate in the same way no matter what the circumstance, unless we change the programming and choose to think and believe differently, which is what coaching is all about. Changing your mind and therefore changing your perspective and your response to what's happening, therefore changing your results. So my client just had an automatic program of scarcity and lack. So even when she wasn't in danger, even when she has everything she technically needs, the only way she believes she can create more of something is by needing it. And needing requires there to be a lack of something. Therefore, creating desperate energy of, I really need a new client, because the actual threat of danger or lack of resources isn't there, the program or the pattern still remains. So it finds something to latch onto, right? Is this making sense? And it's all coming from, I cannot have this thing unless it is a need. And her association to need are not good feelings. They are scarcity and lack and desperation. And this kind of thinking comes from believing that in order to have or create something, you have to do it. There's pressure to do it. I think about so many entrepreneurs that can only create money when it's from a need to energy, and they think that they need to hustle and grind to make it happen, or they need to be miserable to make it happen. But you're really just fulfilling your programming. You're playing out a pattern that your brain and your body are familiar with. So when I coach my client in WhatsApp, and by the way, this is the kind of stuff we do all day inside of one-to-one coaching. Not only do you have me on the calls where I break your brain with reprogramming and shifting beliefs and aligned strategies for you, but you also get support from me outside of our calls where we have these conversations to truly start acting as if and changing your life outside of our weekly calls. So I coach my client on operating out of want and desire because truly her brain just never saw that as an option before, right? What would it be like if you didn't need clients, but you desired them? Does it change your entire worldview for you to operate out of desire and wanting instead of what you think you need and scarcity or lack? What stories do you have around what you're allowed to desire, what you're allowed to want? I think about for myself, I would always tell myself the story that I didn't know what I wanted, and I waited for others to tell me what I wanted because I didn't trust myself or believe that I even knew what I wanted, right? Ew, I hate that. So I would outsource my own damn desires and then be frustrated when I never felt satisfied. And it wasn't until I got really real with myself on what I wanted that I began to change my own relationship to wanting and desire. It felt bad and wrong to want something just because I wanted it. It felt like I didn't deserve something if the only reason I received it was because I wanted to receive it. There was so much worthiness stuff in there that I had to unpack. I truly had to change my relationship to wanting and desire. Scarcity, lack, need, and desperation, like my client, were programs and patterns that I always ran because they were the only patterns I knew how to operate out of. When I became awakened to a different way of being and seeing, though, I began to play in, what would happen if I just wanted 10K months? What if I wanted thousands of dollars in the bank? Because being led by desire is so much more powerful, especially when you feel worthy of being led that way. You can operate out of desire and wanting. You don't need to operate out of need or scarcity or lack. You can decide that you are safe and protected and okay, and then from there you can operate out of, what do I want to create? What do I desire to create? Now, this might feel bad or wrong or like you're greedy or selfish or not good enough, and that is where your work is. Challenge the stories and the beliefs that lead you to believe that you can't operate out of want or desire, or that it's not enough. You no longer need to create from need or lack or desperation, but be kind to yourself if you fall back into that habit because it's a pattern, it's a program, you know the drill. And it will take you shifting back into desire and wanting over and over again for this to become a new program or pattern, right? And honestly, I think about this too in terms of I am not a religious person, but for the longest time, I would be like, God doesn't want me to be happy. The universe doesn't want me to be happy, or it's going to be mad at me if I say these are the things that I want, right? But the universe wants things for you. It wants you to want things for yourself. It wants to give you everything that you desire, right? And when you are the only person holding you in chains. You are the only person holding you hostage and accountable, right? You can decide to forgive yourself and you can decide that you are worthy of all the things that you want. And again, that is where your work is. But the point is it's your work. You don't have to do anything to prove to the universe that you're good enough. You already are. But how can you start believing it, right? And if you're wanting to shift your identity from lack to desire, if you're wanting to consciously create a life and a business that you love, to be booked out and sought after and to feel worthy of it all, apply now to one-to-one coaching at the link in my show notes. This is 6 months of one-to-one coaching and WhatsApp messaging access, 6 months of you and me fucking shit up and changing your life. $8,000 pay in full or $1,333 on a payment plan for 6 months. Link in the show notes to apply. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to find out how you can take this work deeper with me in one-to-one coaching or in the From Imposter to Empowered group program. In the show notes, you'll also find a free 3-day challenge to start the process of overcoming your inner imposter. And once you're done with all of that, screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging me at Your Coach Jill so we can connect. See you next time.